Hi, it's Jen with Astro T Astrology. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the new moon in Aquarius on February 9th at 5:59 p.m. at 20 degrees Aquarius, 41 minutes. This is about starting something lasting, downloading lots of energy leading up to this new moon. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's get started. So look at this chart. Just look at it. Does it look different than any chart? Just so much energy in this top quadrant up here. We have just Capricorn full. We have Aquarius full. Just everything just really on one side of the chart. So we have a full house in Aquarius because the sun and moon and Mercury and Pluto are going to be in Aquarius as this new moon takes place, and Mars and Venus are hot on their heels. So I don't have Aquarius or Mercury in there on my chart because I don't have enough room, because there's just so much energy going on, so much Aquarian energy. So and then just the next 2 weeks we have Mars and Venus going in, so it's going to be chock full. So the new moon, as we know, is a conjunction with the moon, becomes conjunct the sun. So it's starting a new sun cycle and sun and moon cycle. So they come together, that's a brand new beginning, and then the new cycle starts. So it's, again, representing a new beginning, new cycle, new beginning. So this new beginning is in Aquarius. So it's going to have Aquarian themes to it. So what are Aquarian themes? Aquarians, that's kind of like restarting, reinventions, new innovations, inventions, scientific discoveries, scientific breakthroughs, changing on how things are done. So really just you're used to doing things one way, well now we're going to do things the other way, and it's going to be permanent. That's what Aquarius wants, things to be changed and wants permanent change. So we're brainstorming, we're thinking in an unconventional way. So it's not like using that air sign, that thinking the same way as you do in Libra, where things are balanced, things are harmonious. It's being a little unconventional, out of the box. Even with Gemini, that air is more just that factual, wanting to gather all the information. Well, this is networking. This is that kind of reaching out in different ways. So, now that we have the internet, that's a way a lot of things get, how you reach out, how you network. You do things on the internet. It's different than the way, just talking or, just getting information the way you used to. Now we get information that way. So we have themes also of humanitarian themes, humanitarian efforts to try and save the world, that Aquarian save the world kind of mentality. We have group efforts on projects, so it's working together, people getting together in groups, networking to get the ideas started, to get things flowing, working together on these projects. So far, sounds positive, right? It's like, oh, we're going to save the world. It's all about starting new things to help people and help ourselves, and brand new ways of doing things that are going to make life so much easier. But let's look at everything else that's going on with this new moon and how it can all end up playing out, because, of course, every new moon in Aquarius is not going to be the same. So we do have one every year, but of course this one's going to be different than any others because of all the other transits that are going on. So we have also happening Mercury, that moved into Aquarius, moves into a conjunction with Pluto. So so you're going a little bit deeper than normal Mercury does. This is really getting, going down and exposing things, maybe bringing things out in the open. Then we also have the moon in an applying aspect with Uranus. So Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius and So what does that mean? Like, what kind of changes are we, are these innovations going to bring? Because Aquarius is all about change, fast change. Anyway, let's break it all down a little bit. So again, I've been talking about this. This is really going to be more of a kickoff of this Aquarian energy. Everybody's moving in here. We already have, the sun, Pluto, and the moon and Mercury, but we're going to be getting Mars and Venus. So it's about downloading that information, taking that information, and now this is in Aquarius, so we're using that Mercury left brain to download and process the information, but we're also getting it a different way, that Uranus Aquarian way. So just kind of, it's on a subconscious level. It's coming in and we have to process it. So it's kind of a different way, and you have to open your mind and accept this Aquarian, Uranian, these messages that are coming in, and then you use that Mercury to process that information to then move forward with it, whatever that may look like. So again, it's not an ordinary new moon. A lot's going on. We've been talking about this. This Aquarian energy is really going to change the world. We are just in that crux of a new world coming up. Everything's going to change. It's going to be a complete reset, and things are going to be different. So the way that we normally do things, the way that we experience life might be completely different a couple years from now. So it's kind of, this is the onset. This is what everyone's kind of been preparing for. So first we have the Mercury ingress into Aquarius, just joining that growing stellium of innovations in connectivity, innovations in communication, and reactivity, and the way we process the messages coming in. And then conjuncting with Pluto, all this is intensified. So again, these innovations that can transform the way we currently communicate. So we have the innovations, we have, that new communication. So let's kind of break it down and put it together to make it make sense and see how the astrology is happening and how it's just pretty much spelled out in what's going on in life right now. So we have Mercury, that is communication, that's processing information. We have Pluto, that's transformation and complete, out with the old and in with the new, because that complete transformation, not just change, but transformation. And then we have Aquarius, and that is a new way of life, a new way of doing things, a new normal, as people, as the saying goes. So there's these profound insights and enlightenment, getting really down to the bare bones of things, breaking it all down to the bottom, restarting that Pluto energy, getting down and rebuilding. So you're breaking everything down and then rebuilding it back up again. So that's what this is starting. That's what this whole year is starting. That's what this whole new generation with Pluto going into Aquarius is starting. It's breaking all the past down and rebuilding to have a new future, whatever that may look like. So the new moon is really giving us that seed to plant and kind of get things started, so it will root and grow. And yes, this isn't going to happen overnight. This Pluto energy moving into Aquarius, we're going to start seeing things building, but it's going to take a long time for everything to really just pan out. It's in there for 20 years, till 2020 or 2044. So a lot of us won't see the end of it, but a lot of us will. And a lot of us, younger generation, they're not going to know anything of what us older generation, our lives were like growing up, because it's going to be so different. So here's an example, perfect example of everything I'm talking about and these new innovations. So new innovations on the news. I just saw that Elon Musk business, scientific business, whatever, Neuralink it's called anyway. So they just implanted a chip in a human brain I'm not sure exactly what it would do. I didn't really get that information from the news that I saw, but it was to help this person maybe communicate. So how is this going to help? So you think innovations, okay, that's Aquarius. Then we have a chip in the brain. So that is your Mercury. That's your nervous system. That's your brain. This is all mercurial. So Mercury into Aquarius, and we have this, chip being implanted. So, and then is this going to transform the way that we communicate with each other? And there's Pluto right there. So it's kind of just spelled out. It's a messenger. So the messenger, your mental faculties, your brain, the information, regeneration. Maybe I've also heard these chips, they can help people to see. They can help people to walk. They can help people to hear that are deaf, blind, and can cure all these things. So it's that regeneration. It's that processing information in a brand new way that makes this stuff possible. So it can't be any more spot on than that. It literally is spelled out to a T. So how will this new innovation grow? How will, it's for good and helping those to see, hear, walk, those who couldn't before, being able to see, being able to process the images coming in, being able to hear, being able to process the sounds and noises that we hear, being able to walk. So it's regeneration, just redoing, and is it going to be implanted in your head? Like you also hear, are these implants going to be like your cell phone? Are we not going to have a cell phone anymore, and we're just going to have a plant in our head? And then, that's really going to be not great when we're trying to avoid a call from somebody that we don't really want to talk to and say, oh, I had my phone turned off. Oh, well, was your brain turned off? Because it's implanted in your brain now. So that's not going to work. So are we going to, if that's what it is, I guess we wouldn't be able to use those excuses anymore. You're going to be almost too available, I guess. But yet, is the communication going to be more that way and not that in-person communication? How is that going to transform our lives? Are we not going to have that see, feel, talk to each other, like look at each other and get those emotions, because we're going to be getting it just processed into our brain and however we process it? Because I know, right now when we send, say, text messages, and we send a text message to somebody, you might mean it some way, but someone else might take it another way. It's just how you read it. It's just almost the mindset you're in, that how you might process that information differently than other people can. So it'll be really interesting to see if this does become something in the next 20 years, if we're going to have implants in our brains to talk to each other. How is that going to go? Are we going to be connected to the internet? Am I going to just say like, oh, just be thinking about something, and oh, maybe I should call my mom, and then all of a sudden I'm calling my mom and talking to her like mentally, or are we going to say like, oh, when is that new moon? I can't remember when it was. Oh, well, that new moon is on February 9th at, blah, 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 5:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are we just going to just all of a sudden know these things? Is it going to come down like that? Who knows? I mean, is thinking going to be so just flowing into us that we're not going to really have to think, and we're just going to have to, just have the idea come into our head, and then we're going to have the answer. That's all AI. The AI is the different way we're processing and taking in information, the different way information is being given to us. With these chips, another different way is being given to us. So really interesting to see how this is all going to play out, but it's pretty much spelled out in the astrology right there, just showing the innovations that we should expect for the next 20 years. And with this new moon in Aquarius, just really these scientific experiments and things just being found out and being developed, and it's just really going to start taking a stronghold, and it's going to be, Aquarius is about, it's a Saturn ruled sign, so it's about setting those new boundaries. It's about having a new normal. The saying, a new normal, well, this is going to be probably a new normal where we change the way we do things. How can we make changes but then make them stick? And then what boundaries will need to be erected so that we can regulate this modernization? Because you have these changes, but they do have to be regulated. Like, already look at, like, with the internet, things are getting put on the internet that aren't always true, and things have to be regulated, and you have regulations on all the social media platforms, spreading news, fake news, however you want to read the news. But it's all about how you process things and how it's going to be provided to us, and how we are going to regulate and make this the new normal, and how are you going to open your mind up to accept this? Because it does seem scary. It does seem like, I don't want this. I want to just, live my life out in the middle of nowhere and be off the grid. Well, is that even going to be a thing? So we have to be able to accept the fact that things are changing, and use these changes to our benefit in every way we can. Actually, instead of being fearful of them, we want to use them to our benefit. So one of the other huge factors that's going on as we build up to this new moon, the new moon is actually in a little over a degree apart from a square with Uranus. So we see here, and then we have Uranus down there, and then we are in a square. So Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, as we talked about. So really pushing that change, really pushing that modification, redesign of what we are used to, and rebuilding. So Pluto, breaking down the old structures, breaking down the old, and building up the new. So Uranus, it might come quick. So this week we might see things happening very quickly and very intensely, and it might be scary a little bit because things are going to be coming at us quickly. But again, this is just Uranus, just doing those little shock waves, how it does. Uranus really pushing that change, and just again trying to process it, and having that mental, we have that just mental downloads of those sparks coming in, almost kind of like a subconscious with the Uranus information, and then we have our Mercury in there processing this information. So it might seem a little intense, it might seem a little terrifying, it might seem like you could have a headache because there's just so much, and you just might feel really exhausted mentally, and that mental exhaustion can be even worse than physical exhaustion sometimes. So you could just want to sleep and just rest, but it's not going to be long because we got Mars moving in there. This is a new moon we're talking about, so this is getting things started. So if you do need to take a rest to process, then do that. Take your time, meditate on things, think about things, just do some nice calm breathing if you have to. Tree pose is one of my favorites, and I know I've said that before, and just to kind of zone out and just kind of like take it all in and just let you go from top to bottom. So it comes in from the top, it goes all the way down to your feet, and just processing the information. It's really, again, going to be a kickoff of this new world that's coming about, that we've talked about so much. And it is just that change, that reset. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all will be on a personal level for everyone, and on a mundane or global scale, just to see how people will process this information, how the world is going to change. Is it going to be, what innovations are really going to come up? And it looks like a lot of these brain chips or AI, and a lot of that, maybe even like the alien communication. lots of things like that, because it's that networking that's reaching out farther than we've reached out before. So that's, we think, maybe space. People are trying to go to space. We've already had, the Amazon guy, Elon Musk, and somebody else, I can't remember, but they're all trying to make these rockets into space. So, very much of a spacey kind of, feel, because we're networking, we're reaching out. It's Aquarius, we're going where no man has gone before, starting things, being different. So the new moon, Uranus square, can feel like a cattle prod almost. It's just like, I'm trying to relax, And your nice fixed sign Aquarius is, it's fixed, but after it's fixed, it's like we're going to change and then we'll be the fixed sign. So we're going to, get those changes going, but then we're going to, that's the way it's going to be. So that's, it's a little different than the Taurus fixed sign, which is just like you can't get them going. It's more of like we're getting going, but then we're going to make it the way it is. And that's the way it is. New laws, new rules, done. So, that Uranus is really spurring that forward. So we can feel really chaotic again, disruptive, unpredictable, yet somehow it's going to be exciting. You're going to be a little scared, but it's that like, ooh, almost like that, like, I just, I want to know what's happening. And it's just, it's crazy because it is in all factors. It's all different factors. Have you been afraid? Have you been listening to all the astrology talking about it and saying like, oh, everything's going to be horrible, warning something huge is on the horizon. Your mind might be opening up a little bit, though knowing the astrology, knowing what to prepare for, that's why the astrology is great. That's why we do this. That's why we learn this. So we know how to prepare our minds for these things coming up. And we really just look out at the world and we see things happening in different ways. So it's like this perfect storm, I think. And it's, if you ever seen that movie, The Perfect Storm, it's about, I think, like 3 storms and they all form into one. So I'm getting a lot of this information from the astrology. So you look at the astrology and you see these things coming up, and it's like, how is this going to play out? And it's, but then my husband, for instance, he doesn't do astrology. He listens to what I say, yes, of course. He a lot of times thinks I'm a kook, but he's more that, okay, I need concrete proof. So he listens to a lot of podcasts from ex-CIA people and ex-military people, and they're all saying similar things. Like, they're seeing this stuff coming up too. So it's not just like we're only getting this information from one place. We're getting these downloads from everywhere. So, whatever you're listening to, they're saying, this is going to happen. If you don't do this, this is going to happen. If we don't do this, vote this way or we'll lose democracy, or, if this war happens, we're going to be in a world war. Or if this happens, you're getting these downloads from everywhere, and everyone's saying the same thing, that huge, huge things are going to happen this year. And I'm going to, I am in the United States. Of course, I focus on the United States. And I think that what happens in the United States does kind of have a ripple effect through the rest of the world. So I think this is going to be a huge thing for the United States and everything that's going on there. You see these issues at the border, the humanitarianism that are trying to help these people, but yet we have to do things the right way, and then there's so much confusion, and they're going, and where are we going to put all these people that are coming in, and as they're going to New York and Chicago and here and there, and what are we going to do when this state is fighting with this state and threatening to split up and all this crazy. But this is the things that, like, we see from all the information that we're getting from all different parts of life, all different types of people. We have everyone kind of saying the same thing, but in different ways. So that's why, it's all coming in. It's all the perfect storm, and it's all going to come together, and then we're going to see what exactly this all means. So again, the areas of changes, the time frames, it's going to start this year, and I think it's going to play out mainly for the next couple of years with this, new moon in Aquarius it's going to not come full circle until next year. So think about that. We have a whole year that we're going through, and then what's going to happen? Then what are we going to see? What changes are we going to see by the end of this year going into next year? We're going to see a new president elected or the same president elected, or what's going to happen there. So really interesting stuff, and this new moon is really kind of kicking it off, I think. Just it's going to be really interesting because I think the world as we know it is really in for a huge change. I think that there will be a lot of information messages bringing things to light, because we do have also this all with Pluto. So with this new moon, it's also bringing things to light, bringing up and exposing things, exposing like that bitter underbelly, exposing the corruption, exposing things. And I think that these messages might be a little unnerving at times, but I think this is the stuff we have to learn to know how to move forward and to process this information. Like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh my God, like I thought it was one way and everyone's saying it's this way and then it's actually this way. And, you know, so we're finding out and digging down and getting the truth and bringing it up to, you know, bringing it up. So Aquarius is about that humanitarianism. It's unnerving, frightening. You hear again on the news that we have terrorists crossing the border, and we have, you know, China spy balloons coming over and gathering our information, you know, more mercury, more information, alien space travel. So what does it all mean? We have to watch and let it play out. Kind of sit back and just watch. Don't let yourself be too wrapped up in it, because that could just give you that mental breakdown, because you have so much information coming in, that Uranian information, that mercurial information, and then we have Mars coming in, and then Venus. How are we going to process that information? Are our minds just going to go? Are we going to just have a mental breakdown and be sitting in the corner rocking back and forth? Again, take time for yourself, spend some time by yourself, get outside, take a walk around. If it's freezing and horrible like it is here, then, you know, maybe just do some meditation, maybe just kind of just turn the lights off, listen to some nice music, and just take yourself away somewhere else for a little bit, and then come back to reality. So what do we do? How are we going to use the information? Grow with the moon cycle, grow with this upcoming renewing Venus-Mars cycle that's also coming up, and we'll get into that. And we transform our lives with Pluto in Aquarius. Transformation is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but we have, you know, Venus and Mars coming together as well, and then that's going to start a whole new cycle of action and passion, and how are we going to deal with it all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe, and if you didn't, hit subscribe anyway, because why not? And then hit the notification bell for future videos to come up, and of course leave a comment. Let me know what you all think. Let me know how you want things to change, because hey, let's all transform a little bit. Bring me some information, give me some downloads, let me know what you want to see for the future, and I will speak to y'all soon. Bye.